waiting time for like being seen just for like minor injuries. I got into like a little fight and there's like a minor like bruise on my head and like cut. It took me like 3 hours just to get seen. They just told me it was a little cut and I'll just come back in the next 2 weeks, 3 weeks if you don't heal or nothing.
Okay. Did you have any stitches or anything?
No.
Or? No, so it was just advice they gave you?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you think you could have gone anywhere else for it?
No.
Okay.
Our challenges for the NHS, I presume cost is the main issue. People living longer is obviously a concern. Not so much a concern that people are living longer, but the cost of people living longer and the treatment they need.
I think a lot of it is that the information that they're giving us, a lot of us are not really taking it on board. Sometimes we panic a little bit when it comes to our young ones with situations like illnesses, and we go straight to A&E rather than taking on board with going to the pharmacy or calling 111 to really find out the diagnosis.
Do you think we're doing enough to get that information out?
I definitely do. I think that there's many things that you do. I know that you're on the streets a lot and you do many campaigns and adverts and things like that. There's social media out there. Myself personally, I think that you give enough information. Yeah.
One of resources, an ever increasing demand and development in medical practices and treatments, with what appears to be an ever dwindling amount of money and resources. Plus there's always the Brexit situation and the foreign nationals who may decide to leave the country, so there's going to be a potential staffing and resources. And something which I've experienced in the past, perhaps end of life care. It seems very difficult to access a really good part of the system at an early enough stage. My parents live in Birmingham, so it's not the Dudley NHS, but it might be appropriate. They have special units for literally for the last couple of weeks of people's lives. I'm not sure whether the last 2 weeks is perhaps long enough. It seemed difficult to get into that system, and that's probably because the sheer demand.
I think the money situation is obviously critical, and a lot of people tend to say, oh well, it's all these people coming into the country, and I don't agree on that. I genuinely believe it's beyond that, because it's not necessarily because people coming into the country. The services themselves as a whole are having to be looked at. I think there should be a stronger scrutiny policy included in whatever the procedures are.
Well, obviously more money going into it, more efficient admin from the top down, go back to sort of matron-run hospitals or wards. The staff are more answerable to sort of the matron, as opposed to going through the system now.
That's a really difficult one, because I know the NHS are trying to get more care in the community and less away from institutional care, but are the right sort of people there to provide this care in the community?
So what do you think ideal care in the community would look and feel like?
Very sympathetic, very empathetic, not 10 minutes, this is all I've got to come and spend with you, but some compassion.
They're being more negative. I think one of the biggest challenges is to bring back that positiveness, and also to show how the strict scrutiny is in place and what the NHS does behind what you see, because you as a person, as a patient, you just go in and see what you see, and I think that other side of it advertise it? Why not make people aware? It's a I expect in a way it's a shame when you think the concept of what the NHS was all about, and I think people need to start realising that at the end of the day we still have a fantastic NHS service.